single one of them will confirm what the hell I'm saying about this piece of garbage. Ladies and gentlemen, as a black man, I often told y'all, I cannot imagine, as a black man, knowing our history, anything worse than a white supremacist. That is, until Jason Whitlock came along. He's worse than them. He is the worst, most despicable, lying, no good, fat ass human being I have ever known in my life.
Okay. Okay. Tell me how you really feel about that little piglet, Jason Hamhock. I almost agree with Stephen H. Smith, the agent. I almost agree with him regarding how despicable Jason Hamhock is. Now, Jason, you have some redeeming values. Now, on this side of the channel, we do juice. So we strongly encourage you to watch the channel, bring yourself on over here. We can relieve you of much of that body, belly fat. And hopefully that will bring a higher consciousness of vibration to you where you are no longer subject yourself to the things you have subjected yourselves to. And I agree with Stephen H. Smith on those points. But to go as far as to say that he is worse than a white supremacist, that means he must have said something to Stephen H. Smith that's...
When I listened to Cat Williams talk about Kevin Hart and Steve Harvey, my mind immediately drifted to Stephen A. Smith's memoir. Smith's story just doesn't add up. He, or his ghostwriter, claims he received a full basketball scholarship from Winston-Salem State after a one-day tryout in February of 1988. A former Winston-Salem State basketball player allegedly drove Smith from New York to North Carolina for a tryout after Smith impressed the former player during a one-on-one matchup on a playground court. According to his book, Smith arrived on Winston-Salem State's campus on a Saturday, checked into a hotel, and woke up Sunday morning to participate in a scrimmage. It's February. I go check Winston-Salem State's basketball schedule for the 87-88 season. When, this is happening in February of 1988. This covers the 87-88 season. Winston-Salem State, like virtually every other college basketball team during that era, played a basketball game on every Saturday of February. So Stephen A. is saying that Winston-Salem State, at the end of their basketball season, when they're preparing for their conference tournament and maybe trying to qualify for the Division II postseason tournament, that they play a game on Saturday, he wakes up the next morning, they're having a scrimmage that he arrives to late in the middle of, and Big House Gaines checks this 6'1", 150-pound guard from New York City who played a couple of months of high school basketball without acquiring any stats or anything, played a month or two of junior college basketball without acquiring any stats or anything. He shuts down a practice, checks Stephen A. Smith into the scrimmage, and then, according to Smith's account, he knocked down 17 straight shots in the scrimmage. And Big House Gaines offered him a full scholarship immediately after the practice. I'm reading this, and when I read it, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is a comic book.
He got you. That's the account given in the book. He's calling it out. This is what sparked Stephen Agent Smith's tirade. You see, Stephen Agent Smith wanted to interject racism into the conversation when it has absolutely nothing to do with race. Why do we say that? Because we already said ESPN, Entertainment Sports Plantation Network, is just that, a plantation. The very things that Agent Smith accused Ham Hock of is the same things that he is guilty of himself, serving a group of people who are anti-black and who are racist right there on ESPN. Now, we do know that Jason has bent over seemingly a little bit further than the others in his pursuit of these buttery biscuits. We get that. But yet, at the same time, we're not going to just say, okay, we're going to dismiss everything Jason Ham Hock speaks. Because some of these things he's saying is true. And just like Cat Williams pulled up with these receipts, Jason Whitlock is pulling up with those same receipts. And we saw your shooting form. I personally would have believed much of the story until you got to the part where you were at the actual game on a Sunday scrimmage. Had you just said, I just made a couple of shots, the coach was impressed, he wanted to sign me for the next year, I would have believed it. But then when you went as far to say, Agent Smith, that you knocked down 17 consecutive threes in a time period where where three-point shooting was not even popular. You're playing in the pre-Stephen Curry era. You're playing basketball in the Reggie Miller era, and he was one of the greatest shooters of all time. He only shot 3 to 4 threes per game. That was his attempts. Okay? And when people played basketball back then, the culture was the ball typically goes in, then it goes out. So someone coming down just jacking 3 after 3 or taking jump shot after jump shot, it does not go down like that. Okay? Most coaches in that era will not even look at you if you're playing like Stephen Curry back then. Okay? So that's why he's calling you out on this farce. Agent Smith wanted to interject race into the equation. Racism. Because we know that Jason Ham Hock is perceived as a bootlick, but so too are you. And this is why this raccoon on raccoon violence is a mass great distractor. I won't be much longer, but I want to clarify. It is my end point. Every plantation revolution. This is why I have no dog in this fight, and I got smoke for both. Every plantation revolution was stopped. Excuse me, let me clarify. Many of them went forward. Many of them were successful. But many of them that were stopped, they were stopped by the forces, not of the overseers, the officers of that day, and not by the plantation owners themselves. It was stopped by the house Negroes. Those that will submit and serve. This is the step and fetches. The Stevens from Django. These two are just having a feud for the moment. But they'll go right back to their tactics when it's all over. Jason the Ham Hock will go right back to disrespecting Deion Sanders and his children and his 2 sons. Jason Ham Hock will go right back to exonerating Dwayne Wade and his son. Jason Ham Hock will sit right there with Brett Favre and will make him not be accountable to the stolen monies of the people of Mississippi Jackson. And then Stephen Agent Smith, once the feud is over, will go right back to making castrating attempts of black male athletes with the assistance of Malika Andrews and those that work on his plantation. Stephen Agent Smith, when it's all said and done, will go right back to pushing the JAB and any type of medical mishap that Big Pharma and the companies and corporations will promote and make him speak out of his mouth. Okay? They go right back to business. They just took time out to have a quick spar, a quick roundup with one another. That's all it comes down to. And Agent Smith's interjection of the conversational topic regarding racism, come now. Come now. Why do you think we call you agent? And why do you think that we suggest that you work for a plantation? Next videos to come up, we'll be having a conversation about James Dolan. James Dolan, the owner of the New York Knicks Madison Square Garden Club, and how come Stephen Agent Smith and Jason Hamhock have not said one word about this man, and the accusations and allegations coming out. And this is the hypocrisy in which I speak of regarding both of these. Jason Hamhock, the little piglet that could, and Stephen H. Smith, the agent that wants to be. Okay? We'll close with the clip with him shooting with James Harden, and you can see how raggedy that jump shot is. You're going to be able to see how raggedy and torn down, non-follow through, non-gooseneck. It'll look the complete opposite of the way Joel Embiid shoots. Have a good day. That's the juice.
Oh, you gotta make one of them. Come on now. Come on. Oh my God. Close the door. Close the door.
Can you hold that?
Close that door.
Hold on. Let's do that. That's a duo.
No, that's over 3. Come on, pin down. There you go. Lock down.
This is bang.